Good morning, everybody. Thank you for attending today's webinar, Growth in AI at Looker. We'll get started in just another minute. We're going to wait for a few more people to join. So we'll be back in just a minute. Thank you. All right, so let's go ahead and get started with this morning's webinar. Welcome again, everybody, and thank you for joining us. Yes. The webinar topic today is Growth and AI at Looker, how Looker delivered 44% more qualified downstream leads with AI and website optimization. So I'm going to go ahead and just kick things off and turn it over to Guy Alif, the CEO and co-founder of Intellimize. Guy, take it away.
Thanks, Sesame. And everyone, if you have questions during this webinar, please feel free to click on the questions button. We'd love to get them and have a good dialogue together. So, hi, my name's Guy Alif. I'm the CEO of Intellimize. And for the last several years, I've been putting AI in the hands of growth professionals to help them drive more revenue, more customers, and more leads to sales. I've also been a marketer and in paid media for the last 15 years, helping marketers across industries while at Twitter, Brightroll, and Yahoo. My company, Intellimize, automatically optimizes websites. Our machine learning personalizes websites for each unique visitor in real time, showing them the experiences that are most likely to get them to convert in the ways that you care about. We've been fortunate to work with Shilpa and the Looker team for several years now. We got to know each other through a mutual friend and great B2B growth professional, Guillaume Cabane. We quickly began experimenting and personalizing and have rapidly iterated since then. We've also become friends, breaking bread in their Santa Cruz headquarters several times. It's my honor to introduce Shilpa Narwade, who leads digital marketing at Looker. Shilpa?
Hello, thank you, Guy. I'm Shilpa and I'm the Director of Digital Marketing at Looker. I've been here for around 2.5 years and lead all of Looker's digital advertising, basically both paid as well as organic channels. We have been working with Intellimize for the past, I would say, 2 years or so, something new that I've tried out at Looker, basically. I come in from a B2C background, primarily before Looker, working in companies such as Intuit, RingCentral, and Foodie Direct. So before we get started, let me do a quick note on Looker. Looker is a data analytics platform with the goal to bring data and insights into every department of the company. The Looker was formed in 2012, and we have around 700 employees and offices around the globe. We also have over 1,600 customers that leverage data in some form or the other to help drive their business forward. We at Looker use the product day in and day out, like the marketing team especially, and I myself use it to see how different channels are driving business growth. Looker, as I said, has seen tremendous growth the last 7 years or so, and tools such as Intellimize have been really, really important for us to help achieve that growth. A little bit background into my team or the DG team at Looker. As I mentioned before, my team leads all the top of the funnel efforts, or TOFU as we call it. We layer into Looker's main DG team, and we drive leads that feed both paid as well as organic channels, and that feed the SDR team. Our sales funnel, I think, might be pretty similar to what you have at your end as well. It starts with a lead, Anybody who gives us contact information from the website or any other channel, but being actually optimized more heavily on leads further down the funnel, or what we call as the MQLs, so the marketing qualified leads that are sent to the SDR team. And then again, further down, the sales qualified leads, or the leads that go, to our sales team. We focus on conversion rates throughout the funnel. Like we look into different channels, publishers, how these rates are doing versus via segments, via regions, slice and dice the data 10 different ways. To help with all this planning and optimization, we have a robust marketing stack and a robust markups team that helps us layer in and execute all these campaigns. And then, of course, data. Being a data company, there's always so much data that we look at continuously. The team's very hands-on, very, very data-driven. And to be honest, all this focus has helped the DG team, to supply the global sales team with over 66% of new business bookings, which is really phenomenal. Like driving 66% of the new bookings makes the marketing team and the DG team really, really proud. However, all this growth hasn't been easy, right? We all face challenges, and we at Looker, have done the same the past 2.5 years that I've been here. Let me talk through a few of them that we've seen specifically, top of the funnel or from my channels per se. Our ever-present challenge, which is similar to yours, is how do we feed the growing sales team, right? There's a growing sales funnel. There's always a lead goal. There's always a constant budget. And then, of course, we always have to work towards getting more and more leads from, at lower CPAs. So it's a tricky balance that we work on constantly, like, the quality of leads, the quantity of leads, what channels are helping drive down the CPAs, what can we do to lower CPAs quarter over quarter. So as we looked into driving more leads at lower CPAs, we realized that we had to focus on the organic channels. So we focused on SEO. We helped increase organic traffic, working consistently heads down in SEO. But we also knew that we had to focus on the website optimization to help leverage this traffic. So we had to increase our conversion rates, we had to increase our CTRs, and we had to increase rates further down the funnel, not just at the top of the funnel, but lead to a meeting. These rates had to hold through. And we knew we had to do a lot of testing and personalization to achieve this. So going into the actual, website optimization program, or what we did, when we first really started. When we started, I would say around 2 years back, we had two main goals. Increase the number of high quality leads and then increase learnings. What I mean by high quality leads is that Looker was always in a constant state of growth, right? We needed high quality leads. We need a high number of programs and tests that would help achieve that goal. But we also had to balance that between a lot of testing between our messages, our offers, our creative. Things changed all the time. We got in new product offerings, we got in new partners. We needed a way to test all this messaging, but at the same time, not lose out the leads that we're sending over to our SDR team. So that was number one. And then the second was, increase learnings. So I've been fortunate to be at Looker, at a company where, they encourage experimentation, they encourage learnings. We're always trying out new things, and experimentation does not always result in a positive outcome, and that's fine. Like the teams always take in the learnings, from one channel or the other, applied across the board. So we're always looking into learnings from PPC into SEO. We see what we'll do, the feedback that we get at events, we'll apply it on the website. We use learnings from the website into emails. We build out our nurture programs. But all this, experimentation can be detrimental to the sales funnel. And we couldn't let that happen because we have high goals consistently quarter over quarter. So we can't really take time back and then say, hey, you know what, I'm running an experiment, it didn't do well, so my sales numbers or my lead numbers went down. That definitely can't happen. We needed a balance where we, of pure testing and delivering leads to the SDR team. So with those goals in mind, we did, due diligence around the products out there. Intellimize, like Guy had said, came in with a lot of references. We had worked with Guillaume before on a number of tactics. And once he recommended Intellimize, we said, sure, that, it seems to be the right solution for what we're looking at. So I'll take you now into how we actually leverage Intellimize to help meet our lead goals. I've organized into 4 different areas, and Guy and me will walk you into, all of them. First of all, we'll look into, faster optimization and learnings. That's something that we did with Intellimize. We got more high quality leads, and then we did both regional as well as dynamic optimization. So going into what I mean by faster optimization and learnings. Before we started using AI, we use the traditional methods for A/B testing. And I'm sure most of you have done this today or, are using it today. We used to brainstorm for ideas. We used to come up with a test. We ran the test for 2-3 weeks, let it reach statistical significance. If the test worked, then we would have incremental learnings on it. If it didn't work, then we would go back to the drawing board and try out different things. So like, as you can see on the screen, I'm trying out only one CTA on the website, like no multiple tests or nothing running continuously. But, our web traffic kept on increasing because of all the efforts that we were doing on the organic side, on the brand side. And this time that we needed to wait for 2 or 3 weeks for a test to reach statistical significance and then call out wasn't really helping us. Like, we needed to move faster. We wanted to figure out what we could do, how we could leverage these tests, or how we could leverage our time to learning. So what we did was we started, working with Intellimize. And then what we did is we realized that Intellimize and the number of tests that we could do at the same time drastically helped us lower our testing cycles. So as you can see on screen, we have a number of variations running, right? Like probably around 15 or so. I'm trying out 4 different calls to action. There are a number of headers that have been tried out, number of logos, the placement of the modules on the homepage, and all this could be done at the same time. So what this helped us was reduce the risk of a bad idea or a creative. And why this was possible mainly was because of the way the Intellimize algorithm works. Like, the algorithm basically will drive traffic to the variation that's working well. So you don't have to worry about, traffic being split evenly between a good test or a bad test or a bad creative. It was easy for us to say, hey, you know what? This call to action, the discovery call, is not really working well, so let's take it out. It was also easy for us to say, we just have a product announcement, let's put that module in, see how that messaging is doing in the homepage. So you could marry all this together. You didn't need to wait for 2-3 weeks, to get those results per se, in the sense that traffic automatically was directed to the best performing variation. Going on to the next slide, you'd say, did this really work? Like, did using Intellimize work? Did deviating from a traditional A/B testing approach work? What really helped us? So I would say definitely yes, both in terms of the lead growth that we saw and the time that we reduced in terms of like learnings. So as you can see, I've shown you a 44% increase year-over-year, 44% increase in sales qualified leads. So these are leads that are further down the funnel, not just at the top of the funnel. Guy can walk you through the different numbers and variations that we have on the slide out here, and he can tell you how we actually, all these experiences helped us reduce the time for testing and helped increase our conversion numbers. Guy?
Thanks, Shilpa. Yeah, to get to that 44%, there wasn't one thing. There wasn't one version to show everyone. Shilpa's team tried, over the course of a couple of years, 433 different ideas. As you saw on the previous page, those were a bunch on the homepage. They tried them throughout the funnel at every step. And had they tried just those ideas using traditional A/B testing, given how much traffic Looker gets, and Looker is a very successful B2B website, and its base conversion rate, that would have taken decades to try those 433 different ideas. because they were using machine learning, they were able to try not just those 433, but the tens of millions of possible combinations that if you multiply out all those variations into combos, that's how many versions of their page they were using to go personalize for each unique visitor. And so that even their winning ideas were shown more often. The poor performers, as Shilpa was saying, were starved of traffic. Even the mediocre ideas, they were right for someone and they got to get some airtime. Shilpa?
True. Thank you, Guy. So going into, I think the next way that we leverage Intellimize, and I think one of the main ways that we actually leverage Intellimize is to help drive high quality leads. So as mentioned earlier, our sales funnel, it starts with a lead, but we focus more on marketing qualified leads, right? Like that's the leads that go into the SDR team. Those are super important. But we track and we're actually accountable for all the leads that go further down the funnel, the sales qualified leads. So those are our goals, like for the DG team, for the SDR team, for our sales team. That is the first definable goal. When we look at all this and we track conversion rates, not all MQLs become a sales qualified leads. Like, there's a drop off. They're not all qualified leads at all. So we needed a lot more MQLs to get into the sales qualified leads. If you actually look into the website, for us, the website is a starting point of the MQL, right? I mean, that's where most of the traffic comes in for. That's where the first conversion event happens. So when we started optimization really early on, running a few tests, I think we got around a 30% increase in lead creation. And we were like, wow, this is really working. Like whatever we are doing is really working. A 30% increase will really help us meet our lead goals. So we were super thrilled. And we were like, yes, that really helped us out. We can reduce, the dependence on our paid channel and help increase the organic growth. But as we track these leads further down the funnel, we realized that it wasn't a 30% increase that we were seeing further down the funnel. These leads, we were just seeing just a 15% increase in our sales qualified leads. And we were like, whoa, that doesn't really help us. Half of my leads don't really convert. So we went deeper into data. We looked into what was driving these leads. We looked into the offers. We looked into the assets. And then the calls to action. And we realized that not all conversions are created equal. So for example, as you can see on the slide, we have different conversion rates for each of the offers that we tried out. So for example, a POC or a request demo would convert much better down the funnel than like an analyst report or a white paper. So people engaged with all these offers differently, and all these conversion rates carried out from down the SEO level, down to trial, down to wins. So that was really important learnings. We were getting deeper and deeper into data. We were trying to figure out what's working and what's not working. We then took all this data, at the offer level. So we layered in the learnings about the offers. We layered in conversion rates, and we layered in what we knew about the sales qualified leads into the algorithm. And we started optimizing for multiple goals, each with its own weight. What I mean is, like, as you can see, we could assign a goal of, let's say, 325 or 250 to a POC, and we would assign or lower down the weights, to $100 or $50 for a call to action, such as an analyst report that didn't really work too hard. So I've done this before, on SCM channels, and I've done this before to optimize my paid campaigns, but this is the first time that I was actually doing it, for SEO optimization or for a website optimization. In a traditional approach, I would have probably just worked with one goal, but now we could assign different goals. We could assign different weights to different goals. Intellimize's algorithm then directed web traffic to variations across the site to maximize value based on these weights, right? So then the variations or the tests were run based with a certain goal that we assigned to the test. We would say maybe it was a CTR goal, or maybe it was optimized towards revenue per page, but all the weights were actually included when we optimized towards that overall goal. The leads that were generated as a result of this and the ones that were sent to the SDR team were much, much high intent and extremely qualified. So as you can see on the next slide, when we added in the weights, the algorithm opted for high converting leads versus just any converting lead. And we saw a drop in lead volume, like around 16% drop in lead volume, which was fine, which was expected, which worried us a little bit initially. But then we said, okay, fine, let's take a step back and, see how that drop in lead volume is actually working further down the funnel. And I think the more that we tracked, the more that there was a gap between the leads coming in, and then we saw what went out to the sales qualified leads or to the AE team. We saw a 44% increase in the sales qualified leads. So a drop in leads actually, totally helped us. It helped us in our goals as a business to drive new growth or getting new customers versus just getting leads. So that was a primary goal. It helps us optimize the leads and the conversions to such an extent that we could help the sales team or the SDR team spend less time or use their time more efficiently to market to people and audiences that would work well down, and become a customer. So they were just not spending their time on any lead that we were giving them. It gave us a great amount of confidence, because we were like, okay, our efforts are really working. We're sending in the right qualified traffic, and we got less complaints or feedback from our SDR team per se. So that, I think, was one of the main reasons or that we kind of, I think, continue to work with Intellimize, because we haven't seen any other tool in the marketplace that can actually do this level of optimization. Like I said, I've done it on SEM, but a website optimization tool using weights, I haven't seen that in the marketplace so far. Going on to a third level of optimization that we've done with Intellimize, we use it heavily for regional optimization. So we have teams, so Luca's based in the US. Most of our employees are in the US, but we do have offices in EMEA and APAC. The APAC is really small, the presence is just growing, but we've been working with the EMEA team for around 2 years now, and we see a sizable portion of revenue coming in from that team. I'm sure many of you here also work with regional teams. You might have a global presence, you might, work on campaigns, in one particular region, but you work through global teams, or you're part of a global team and you're working, or a regional team, and you're working towards, making sure that your regional team hits those goals. For us, we actually use it, to cater better to regional audiences. So as you can see, some of the things that we've done at a regional level is that we've, tried different headlines, tried regional headlines, tried different languages. We've tried different logos. We've tried, a different kind of messaging or modules on the homepage based on the country that you're targeting. And what we realized is that all regions, all teams behave differently. There is not one global answer. And the AI or the tool or the algorithm that we're using basically enabled us to automatically tailor all these experiences for each region and each individual within that region. So if you go on to the next slide, you will see that specifically for EMEA, when we actually tried out and we did pre-post Intellimize, or when Intellimize was on and off, and we didn't use it to optimize, we would see a 35% increase in leads through the Intellimize algorithm. And this is a 35% increase on top of the other tests that we do. So this is the right number of MQs that we're giving into our regional sales team. The sales team in every country need all our support. So for us to be able to do so easily with, with our presence in the US or managing all these campaigns from the US definitely helped. So we felt much stronger and better off saying that, yes, we're contributing to a great extent to the regional pipeline also, because we're sending them much, much higher qualified traffic. So that's a regional level. Currently work with EMEA a lot, and I'm hoping to do the same with Japan. Our microsites in Japan are just up, and I'm pretty sure we'll start using Intellimize there as well. Lastly, we'll talk about dynamic optimization, but I'm going to call Guy in to walk through, what we've done out here, and then he will highlight a few product features as he does so.
Thanks, Shilpa. Talking about dynamic optimization, our prospects, they aren't all the same, and our websites shouldn't treat them all the same. And Shilpa spoke about automatically personalizing the prospect journey for each unique visitor using machine learning earlier. Turns out, our prospects don't also stay the same. Our websites shouldn't fall behind either, and I'm going to talk about that now. We as marketers and our competitors regularly change our ads, messaging, and website content all the time. And this attracts different visitors to our site, and they behave differently over time. The right experience on our website today is often not the right experience on our website tomorrow. And here's an example of where Shilpa's team was trying to optimize between two different videos on a landing page, and the right answer changed. Initially, the creative market video, the green line, was doing a better job of persuading visitors to fill out the form on this landing page. You can see the green line getting more traffic on the screen on the left. The team then tried a new layout and content test for other parts of the landing page, independent of this video. You can see that during the test, the performance of the videos changed, and the machine learning automatically shifted which video was shown to deliver more equal traffic between them. Later, the team concluded that the new layout and content were going to be winners and baked them into the base site. Once that happened, the Google Marketing Cloud video began to outperform the Creative Market video, and the system dynamically began showing it more often, which you can see as the black line receiving more traffic. Now, how many of us on this webinar have gone back and rerun an A/B test? My hunch is most of us haven't, if any of us have. Here, you've got machine learning dynamically adjusting to changes in visitor behavior, because we as marketers constantly change our ads, our messaging, and our website content. Being able to dynamically respond to changes in visitor behavior can be really valuable. Now, I'll invite Shilpa to come back and talk about the takeaways from our discussion.
Thank you, Guy. Yes, that was a very interesting test that we did with both the videos. And it was, when we went through that entire learning experience, I think that was great. I mean, I was amazed at what we could do with Intellimize, and I was amazed how the audiences reacted to two different videos. In any case, as we wrap up, here are a few takeaways from our website optimization journey. And that's just, our learnings, what we've learned over the past 2 years. What I've learned is that your website attracts a lot of diverse crowd, and personalizing to this crowd really helps. We personalize based on persona, we personalize based on region, country, the buyer's journey, and we're constantly trying different things to see what's working. For us, it's also time to, the test, time to speed. The more you can accelerate this testing, the better it is for shared learnings and, to meet your lead goals. I would rather get learnings faster. I would rather do a test that tells me if I'm not failing really fast, so that I'm not losing my lead number or not meeting my lead goal. We also realize that not all conversions are the same. So we track conversion rates for all offers. We track them down the funnel. We track them by a segment. We track them, based on country. All this has really helped us, and we always continuously try and see, what's working, what's not working, and we're trying out different calls to action. And then also the last thing is that we can drive material impact if you optimize further down the funnel. I mean, that's what I've learned. My goal is not just to get a higher lead volume, right? My goal is to try and see how much of the new business I can drive. I mean, that makes me and my team proud and more accountable for. It's not just the lead volume. However, we helped Looker drive actual business growth. I think so. That's what essentially we wanted to share with you. Guy, open to you. Open to anything more you want to add on.
That was great. Thank you for walking us through that. And Now, everyone in the audience, if you have questions, please click on the questions icon in Zoom, share them, and we'll begin answering them. And we've got a couple to begin with. So my company isn't B2B like Looker's, so we're not focused on bringing in leads. Does this type of personalization work for other websites too? Shilpa, would you like to take that, or do you want me to give it a crack?
You can give it, you can take it, but I would say yes, definitely yes. And I would think it would work more for an e-commerce website than us, but I would let you answer that more.
So I agree with you completely in that e-commerce websites and B2B sites and financial services and a bunch of other industries, for them, for each of us as marketers, the mobile and desktop web experience is an important part of the prospect journey. And digital actions matter a lot to us. It matters when somebody fills out a form to talk to sales. It matters when somebody buys a product. It matters when somebody applies for a credit card. And so you can use similar techniques when those digital actions are important to you, because ultimately that's the thing you're optimizing for with this. Another one, we're a small team and don't have the bandwidth to have somebody fully devoted to personalization. How do you suggest we approach this?
So I can take that. We are a small team too, like my team, including me, they're just three of us. One of us works on paid traffic, the other one works on organic. I think what we definitely found and needed was a lot of hand-holding from the partner that we work with on the optimization side, right? So we have an in-house creative team, we get creative done, in-house, we mock up things ourselves. But I think it's been the support and working together with Guy's team. It's very easy because they do the heavy lifting on the creative work. They do the heavy lifting in building those tests for us. So I think that has really helped us, both helped us save time and also when needed and we can't rely on our teams internally, Guy's team is there to help us out. Anything more you'd like to add, Guy?
No, thank you for that, Shilpa, and thank you for the partnership. We have another question somewhat related to that about hey, how did you get your marketing org on board with this approach? What was the level of effort to align the team to get the work done, to be optimizing for different audiences, report on performance, and so on? I think that one's for you, if you're up for it.
It is. I would say it was hard. It was really hard. I think it was hard even for me initially to move away from Optimizely or the traditional approach that we use. Towards AI, I was always skeptical. I was always asking Guy, is this correct? Is the algorithm behaving correctly? Am I leaving money on the table? Am I not catering to all the audiences? And these questions came in from our leadership team as well. It came in when they saw 10 different variations on the website. Some of them worked, some of them didn't. And I'm just being frank out here. There was some where we got a little bit of feedback, from, oh, this does not align well with our brand. Why are you guys showing this? Why is this being shown? And then on the other times, it was great. Wow, you can do all this and we can optimize and show these logos and I can try this out, I can try that out. But I think it was initially a lot of communications. It was us understanding the algorithm. It was working closely with the Intellimize team. And then frankly, the results that we saw 3 months, 6 months down the line. I think that was key, that we could turn the lever on at any given point of time. I could use it to drive more leads. I could use it to get high quality leads. So I think once we started showing the results and once we started saying, hey, you know what, you don't like that particular variation, it's not totally alignment with the brand team, it's not totally alignment with the new product offerings, fine, we won't work towards it. I mean, I think that's the beauty of the algorithm, right? So you can take things away, try different things. And that helped convince our leadership team because they realized that we had much more control than what they initially thought.
Well said. And there's a related question around, you asked about the data earlier on, and how many MQLs and SQLs did you need so that the system had the confidence or statistical significance to know which variations to serve up? Because usually B2B sites don't have a lot of conversions to begin with. And so I feel like we're already starting with a smaller pool. Maybe I'll take this one and you'll add, Shilpa?
Yeah, sure.
So we intentionally, knowing that most sites don't get a lot of traffic, built machine learning that works really well with low traffic. In every scenario, this approach will get each one of us as growth professionals, as marketers, results faster than traditional A/B testing. And a reasonable rule of thumb that we've used, and really it's a rule of thumb for us humans who want answers quickly, is about 1,000 a day. If you're getting 1,000 a day, that's a reasonable balance between getting results quickly and trying a whole bunch of ideas at the same time. If you have, I don't know, 10 a day, I would think about maybe doing intuition-driven marketing rather than data-driven marketing. But at 1,000 a day, you'll get answers reasonably quickly. There's another question. What are the key differences between you and Optimizely? Maybe I'll take a crack, and Shilpa, you'll add if you have additional things to add. And I won't talk about Optimizely specifically, but I'll talk about A/B testing in general. There are a few. First, you get to try all your ideas at once. You don't have to try one idea and wait till that idea is totally done. You can try all your ideas at once. You can add and remove ideas anytime you want. Two, you begin optimizing immediately. This is a system that every few minutes is doing a better job at predicting human behavior and continually improving. Three, you don't treat everyone the same. You don't, to the earlier discussion, pretend that, this one variation is the right thing to show everyone to move them further down the funnel. And four, you don't treat everyone the same forever, right? You don't get one answer and use it permanently. You see a system, as we talked about earlier, that adjusts automatically over time. And the last difference that I'd call out between this and A/B testing, this approach, the fifth, is a whole bunch of the work that was on us as marketers in A/B testing has been automated now. Checking StatSig every day, going to engineering and saying, hey, can you build this into the website? A whole bunch of that has been automated. Hopefully, all of that frees us up to spend more time intimately understanding our prospects, walking a day in their shoes, and creatively coming up with more ideas than we did even before to cajole them to become customers. Shilpa, anything you'd want to add or change?
No, I'm sorry, I was muted. No, I think you've answered it correctly. I think, yeah, for us, the biggest difference is the weights and how fluid it is, and how the algorithm in terms of directing traffic to the well-performing variations. I think those two things are key for me.
Great. Go ahead, Shilpa.
I think there was a follow-up on the same question.
Yes, I see it in the chat. Do you have to create all the assets on the site yourself with engineering, or does Intellimize enable you to make the changes that you want? Do you want to talk about that, Shilpa? And then I'll add on.
Sure. So I think right now it's a mixed process. Some of these things, like if it's a lighter touch in terms of just a button color change, right? Or you're trying out different colors on the button, you're trying out different text. I think that's easily done with Intellimize. If you're doing a phenomenal change on the homepage, like especially something like a homepage or a product page that drives a lot of traffic, and we're doing in a lot of changes, then we have a creative team code it, and then we send it off to Intellimize, or they basically a creative team mocks it, codes it, we send it off to Intellimize, and then they launch the variation. So it just depends on what we're trying out in terms of testing.
100% with you. And for teams that don't have the in-house engineering resources, we'll happily bring it to life for you. If you write the words and cut the images, we'll write the code to modify the site on the fly, and then we'll QA it, you'll QA it, and you can go bring it live, specifically so that the engineering part doesn't end up being a constraint. Another question. You talk a lot about experimenting. At what point will I know if I've run enough experiments and that the percentage lift I've achieved is the most I'm going to get? How should I think about this? And so maybe I'll take a crack at that one first. My question back is, will you ever not be accountable for driving more growth this year than you had last year? My assumption is the answer is no. You will always need to drive more. That's part of the answer to this on the website, that there will continually be more you can do to go turn your prospects into customers. One, because you're accountable for driving more. Two, you'll change your messaging. How often does each one of us change our messaging or completely revamp our website? I don't know, every year, two. There will be additional things that you want to optimize against. And three, you're probably always changing your ads and your ad creative and your ad targeting. And you'll want to maximize that investment by ensuring that when they go through the top of the funnel with the ad, when they hit the place where they're going to turn into a customer or a lead for sales, this is continuing that experience and you're getting the most out of your investment. So my opinion is there isn't a top, in part because the world, you're accountable for more, and also because the world keeps changing. There's more for you to continue doing in cajoling those prospects to become customers. Shilpa, anything you'd add?
No, I think you covered it all. I think a little, we do it the way you said it, and we also, when we're running a test, what we look at is more than the statistical significance. We also look into more so what the test is driving, right? It could be more engagement. It could be just overall revenue per page. It could be conversions. It could be, we just look at all different metrics, and for us, that's important. That learning is important. And that helps us kind of call out the test to some extent, even if it doesn't reach statistical significance, even if we can't call out the test, any kind of incremental growth, like I have said, does help us, right? We did a test recently, product image test. Not that much difference between the control and the test itself, but we did see higher engagement, and we were like, that's fine. People do seem to like that image out there, so let's roll it out. It's not detrimental. It's just a very, very slight lift, but I'll take that lift. I'll take any lift that I get to help meet my numbers.
Yeah. Great. I see another question. If anyone has others, please feel free to click on Q&A and add them in. This question is, how involved do design and other team members like copywriters or engineering need to be to create the variations in order for Intellimize to work? Maybe I'll take a crack, and Shilpa, then you'll adjust. So for Intellimize to work, you do need to do the stuff that we as humans are uniquely great at doing. Empathize with customers and creatively come up with ideas to persuade them to go from prospect to customer. Okay, to do that, you need to write the words. You need to cut the images. So that may be a marketing team, that may be a copywriting team, that may be a design team, depending on how you're organized. And getting them on board as you accelerate your testing using something like machine learning and begin personalizing can be really valuable. Engineering, that's up to you. If you've got the engineering resources as Shilpa described and you would like to go code them, by all means, please do. If you would like some help doing that with our particular tool, we're happy to take that burden off of you. And almost every scenario we can go do that. But the biggest ones really are about writing the words and cutting the images. And then the machine will go try all the possible combinations of them. Shilpa, anything you'd add or change there?
No, I think we do it the same way. We rely a lot on our copywriters and our team here, mainly to make sure that we have the messaging right, we have the brand perspective right. We also refer to our creative team in terms of like the images, the creative itself, right? Like they are the experts. So like I said, if you're doing a big test, we would get them to help us mock up our ideas. We have certain ideas in mind, but they are the best at this, so we defer to them, and then we all work together, see what works for everybody in terms of the UI, the flow, the colors, the brand, the messaging, and then we run the test.
Great insight. Thank you. Are there any other questions from the audience? Maybe we'll wait a few seconds, see if there are. Then we'll wrap up. Thanks everybody for joining us. Shilpa, thank you so much for taking the time to share your insights and your experience with everybody who joined. We really appreciate the questions, the interactivity. Shilpa, we very much appreciate the partnership, and I hope everybody has a great day. Thank you.
Thank you, Guy. Thanks for having me. Bye.